Hey everybody, Adam Savage here in my cave with Chris from the Wand Company. If you don't know the Wand Company, well, you are about to learn about the wonders and delight in the Wand Company. And you have brought something here that is a piece of science fiction ephemera that is really near and dear to my heart because this thing has never been fully, properly replicated, in my opinion.
No, and it is the quintessential sort of sci-fi computer that started it all, really.
It really is. It's every time I'm using my iPhone or my watch and I'm looking up information, I am thinking back to the Star Trek Tricorder. What 7, 8, 10-year-old me wanted to parse the world with.
Yeah, and how forward-thinking was it? They took computers that at the time filled a room and thought, what if someone could carry one around their waist?
Like, that was a radical idea back then.
It was. And a lot of the features in the Tricorder, there's the discs that we've now put in, the 8 discs, they were sold at the time. IBM were making computers with great big discs, a stack of 8. And I imagined that when they were designing it, they thought, what if that was condensed down in the future to just a small little bit?
Oh, that hadn't occurred to me. Of course.
Yes. And you can find the exact pictures of those things. They look like the same discs, it's just they're gigantic and these are small. But obviously we now know way too big.
Yes, exactly.
Obviously.
Okay, can we crack this? I'm dying to see.
So this is the shipper. This is how
this is how it'll arrive when you order it.
So it's quite important to ship it so it doesn't get damaged. This is the first time anyone's going to be seeing this, by the way. So there'll be people.
It's the full.
It's the full thing.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. So let's get this out of here. Now we went through a few iterations of the box, but this is only a sample. This box is a sample.
I love the spot varnish.
See, try to keep it a little bit in universe. It's hard because you don't know what might be happening in the future, in the past, but this would be something that might be issued to someone. They can write their name and the date on there.
Okay, so there's a phrase that I used when I wrote my talk about cosplay, where I said that cosplay was the process of pouring your body into a narrative that meant something to you. And before we've even seen this prop, I love the idea that you have dual purpose the packaging in case the person wants to think of this as an in-universe delivery box for an actual tricorder, and they can put their name and serial number on there.
As if they were being issued it.
That is beautiful.
But the thing is that that pouring themselves into the fancy, the cosplayer, and in fact the fan, straddles a line. When they stand in front of Shatner and ask him to sign their thing, they don't ask James Kirk to sign it. They ask Shatner to sign it.
That's true.
But when they hold it, they feel like Kirk.
Right.
So how do they work that out? That 1 minute they're Kirk. When they hold the prop replica, they want it to look like the real prop.
Yeah.
But they also want it to be a piece of equipment they could hold.
That's what I want. I want an experience from the prop. I don't just want it to look right. I want it to feel right.
And yet you also want it to look accurately like the prop.
Of course.
So if the prop was made and it wasn't quite that good, and we're trying to sort of idealize it a bit, we've got to tread that line between making it perfectly like the prop and yet perfectly like a real thing that you might use.
And you're going to encounter manufacturing inefficiencies that you have to accommodate for. That means sometimes you can't build topographically the exact piece that you're trying to replicate.
And mostly those things will come because we can't fit the components in, or the molding can't be done in a way that you can afford, or just that it wouldn't be robust enough. And if you would use it in a daily pace, it would just fall apart. So here we are.
Beautiful.
And of course that journey
varnish
starts with that. And to be fair, I'm a little bit of a cheat. It's once you've got the kind of graphical thing in your head, it's a home run. So there are lots of pictures that you could draw. They'd be very complicated, but I think simplicity works. So should we open it?
Yeah.
So
you guys.
Now,
I appreciate even the engineering of that nice tight
okay.
fit.
Well, so we'll just ignore this for a moment. This is where the manual's going to sit. This is a very quick and dirty, not a proper manual, but it gives me the scope for the size of the manual.
Yeah.
The real one is a bit dull for me. This is a quick dummy. I'm going to do a nebula behind here. So it'll be like this layout, but it'll be a
little more of a dramatic
it'll be dramatic.
field.
And then on the back, on the front, depending on how you look at it, there'll be a little line drawing. So this is a very quick rough. This is all what they call lorem ipsum. It's basically Greek text. And I've taken this side and just flipped it that side to show me roughly how many characters I have. We were talking earlier about character counting. This is a very quick way of character counting. We can easily count nowadays in a document. In the old days, we would go and count every...
That was my first job in graphic design, was taking text, figuring out how much we had, and then figuring out how much to order, because you paid a photo printer per inch of text back then. You had to know.
And you probably got it typed out. Well, we did. You get it typed out on a sheet with characters spaced, ordinary space. You character count one line, then you times it by the lines, then you multiply it by the text.
Well, I would always average 10.
Oh, I see, okay.
I would average out the count of 10 lines.
So nowadays, you don't know how lucky you are. You just block that all in and it says this many characters and then off you go. So I know now I've got to write this document, what we'll be doing. But this is not correct yet. This is not finished. This is just the outline. Yeah. So that's the outline.
Oh, look at the leather.
Here is the inside.
Before I've even seen it, the leather is beautiful.
It's nice. So like all our products, we want people to be able to display them. So one of the first things you'll encounter is the stand. And one of the things we want is the stand has to be in the real world because it's going to be in your display cabinet. Right. But it has to be sort of like the thing that could be in the captain's...
You don't want it to take the piece itself too far out of the wall.
Yes, and it's got to be neat and tidy. And this actually goes with the stands that we've made for our previous ones, the phaser and the communicator. It's in this... it's zinc, it's cast solid. There's magnets in here, so it will hold onto it.
So it sits really...
And then it's got this EVA rubber on the bottom, so it'll just fit nicely.
I really appreciate your guys' commitment to the narrative of unboxing, as well as the narrative.
It is important too, because the story starts that way. It's a bit like a really posh meal on a nice, clean, white plate.
It
tastes better. So that's the whole thing.
Agreed.
Here we've got the
touch of paints.
That would be or nail varnish, whichever one you want to look at.
Oh, sure. These are the computer discs.
Yes.
Oh, these are so beautiful.
Yeah, we'll take them out. We're going to put them in. We're going to put them in a sec.
Oh,
so we may as well get them out.
Awesome.
So each one, the colours were chosen. We chose some colours, and then the colours were chosen because fans replied to us on our blog and said the colours don't look realistic. So the weird thing with the colours is when you look at the colours on the show, a bright red will look bright in one area, almost like orange, or look dark, and it's very hard to gauge. So you can take, when you look at colours like that, if you take a spot measure from the different colours, then you'll find that what you thought was red is actually like brown or something. You can't really tell. So we've selected a palette of colours. There's another...
You really you've stayed very close to the sort of the palette of Star Trek and also of sort of mid-century American design.
That is, and everywhere you look at the design here, we're going to see echoes of another weird dichotomy between the 1960s and the 1960s as they envisaged the 23rd century.
Right.
So to get the 23rd century 50 or 100 years ago, or 50 years ago, let's say 50 years ago, then that is the coolest bit, to try and get the juxtaposition of those things. Because we're imagining the future as it would have looked a while back.
Right.
So let's take this out.
Okay.
The next thing you notice here, we've got the
strap is wrapped up.
Instead of it being folded or creased, it's now going to come with, this is quite a large shape, so you don't get it damaged when you get the strap. Okay.
Yeah, so I've had the experience of pulling out the tricorder, and the strap is this
tiny, horrible thing. So let's take this out now. Let's put this to. So
I'm so excited. Oh,
so it's like a sort of 1950s or 1960s camera case.
It really is.
And yet something you could imagine. Now we went away, if you remember, for the communicator and for the phaser, we had these plastic boxes, which were like gun cases. I mean, it came from the idea of a sort of a little gun case, like an ammo case. But we wanted this one, this is more of a scientific instrument. So we wanted it to have a feel of a camera case or a scientific instrument case.
And there were some magnets there in the closure.
Which is quite nice. And then this lovely feature. One of the early ones we did, it went straight across and it was lower. It just somehow...
No good.
This gives it much more of a 1970s, 1960s feel. You're
can I?
You can, but let's just take it out.
Oh, that folds nice and flat.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool.
So let's just place it on the stand. So it does have magnets on the stand, so it sits so it's not scratching the surface. The texture itself is the Kydex texture, but on the base they had the texture. They actually had a piece of black masking tape. So that's black masking tape texture.
That's so funny.
So that sits there like that, and it just sits slightly off the surface. And this will go with the...
it'll sit of a piece with the phaser base.
With the phaser and the communicator. And of course, if you want, you can train this round to roll it out. With the strap, it's a bit hard to know what to do. So you've got the two doors. at the moment we've just that's the charging cables
sure,
on there.
Sure.
But it has removable dividers, which are not in this one.
There?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So you could put dividers in there that will be provided.
Yes, and this will be a cardboard box in here, which will be fitting that shape.
Oh, excellent.
And the dividers are made in such a way we haven't made it. And before all fans get really antsy about it, we haven't made the medical attachment. There's a medical bit, but the dividers have been made to fit the what we think is the standard size for that. Yeah. So if people want to make that, they can make it fit. And then you've got the top.
And this is where the memory goes in.
So we'll do that in a sec.
Okay.
And then you've got this.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Look at that.
So the grill, specially made.
I was going to say, I don't think anybody else has gotten the grill that close to the original, have they?
We did it with the communicator. We actually had the grill. The weird thing with the original grill is it was pressed between two wheels. That's how they made the grill. It was basically rollered between two cutters.
Okay.
So they've got lots of holes and they stamp it and it's just rolled through like a calendar, I think it's called. Mm-hmm. And they made it for this cheapish radio, this sort of little transistor radio.
Yeah.
And you can buy that grill. You could buy those radios. In fact, we bought a few.
Sure.
For the communicator, it was machined. It was drilled and machined. Oh my God. It still blows my mind that they did it. I think this one's stamped, but it even the whole pitch, everything about it is accurate. Then you've got these here, which are the watch crowns. Now in the original tricorder that we did scan, the one that Greg Jean, who sadly passed away, as you know, but he came with us and we scanned it, his one that he had. These jewels are basically from the watch crowns, and they're just stuck on, and they're just coloured. And we thought we'd make them into lights, so that's all. And they're different. There was 4 or 5 different tricorders, and some had these little watch crowns, but other ones had pins, just literally tiny little dressmakers pins.
Oh wow!
With different colours, and those colours. That's what tells you what different tricorders there are out there, and they're shown in different episodes.
Wow!
After the first few shows, something happened inside that broke whatever was in it, and it never got opened after that.
Oh.
So the actual one we saw doesn't have an inside. When you open it here, it's just empty.
It's nothing.
But you can see, there are pictures where you can see pictures of it.
This is a beautiful piece of, this is aluminum.
Yeah, it's...
That little handle had to have also been
Yes, machined.
Yeah.
So that's machined out of a bit of bent bar or whatever. These are machined. This has to be extremely accurate. I mean, because if it's too tight, you don't get this lovely detent.
Right. And then also the face of this is machined aluminum.
Yeah, and it's all the edges have been chamfered round.
Crazy.
This is what we were talking earlier about, the Tritan. This is the Tritan. It's like glass.
It's gorgeous. And
polished.
This is like a super durable, like polycarb kind of plastic.
Polyester. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's turn it on. There we go. That's better.
Ooh.
So it's just initializing. The lights are coming on.
The light color is really nice.
Really gorgeous, isn't it? And there you go.
Oh, working screen! I knew we were going to see a working screen, except still seeing it. I was really excited.
The other thing is, there is
you make your own passcode.
You can make your own passcode, and then if you don't enter it and you try to go in, it will just, let's see.
Access to...
Yeah, also, there's an episode where, I just want to quickly go over this, where there's an episode where a doctor has it like this, and holds it this so they can read it like this.
Oh.
And no other replica has been able to turn all the way back. They all turn to about this level. Whereas actually most of the time. The other funny thing is that Spock, because of the shooting, he often held it like this. And he's actually not looking at it. He is pointing at it, but he was looking at the camera, and then the camera was seeing it because he couldn't have it.
You're not looking, they don't want to see the back of it.
There are a few scenes where McCoy is actually seen looking at it, because McCoy was a different kind of actor. Right. He believed in it being realistic, because he was quite a famous actor. He was a famous actor before he started it. He'd been in shows with doctors and things. Anyway, let's put the correct passcode in.
All right.
So it's what we've put in there is 1701, which I'm guessing.
Oh, nice.
You could put anyone in you want, though. So we're now into the main part of the tricorder.
Dude, it's a full color screen. It's so pretty.
It is very good. Now, there's a lot of bright lights in here, but now if we put the disc...
Oh, this looks great. The moire.
And it's lit up.
That's so cool.
I've got it. There's another cool thing to that. It does now.
You backlit it.
Yeah.
Which is not canon.
No, but also in the show, there's a particular pattern. It's there.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if it keeps going round, you're never going to see that pattern. You're never going to be able to stop it and see that pattern.
Right.
So there is a mode where you can advance it a little bit until you get the pattern exactly
right. And then just hold it?
So, yeah, and lock it so that you can show it in your display cabinet with that like that.
I love how well you service the display.
There is also another one, which is quite nice. If we do this, it's just a grey.
Yeah.
And you can adjust it brighter or darker.
Oh, nice.
So you can basically have it like the
functioning like the shooting prop.
Yeah, which just had a grey screen.
Yeah. So
that's the starting point, really. Then there's these discs. Let's put some of the discs in.
All right. Do they affect its behavior when they go in?
They do. So
like magnets and Hall effect sensors or something?
There'll be a few different things in there that we can see. Yeah. Let's see what we can put in. Here we go. Let's put. So you put the disc in this slot here, and it changes the function.
Oh, look at that.
Each disc is laser etched with
I see that with what it does.
Except that it also has a part which is not laser etched, because in the real prop
you couldn't see lettering.
You couldn't see because it was actually a piece of tube that was just laser etched.
Yeah.
Well, it was milled, so it had these little spaces in it. It's the only one that selects the function is the
final one.
Yes.
I appreciate your willingness to go outside of canon to add what feels like proper functionality.
I think so, because this looks like canon now.
It looks right, and and the backlighting of this feels exactly right.
Yeah, I think it really helps. So let's.
And these are double clicks. So if you click it again, it pops itself back. Ah, that's great.
That mechanism was quite hard to do.
I was going to say 8 of those.
Yes, and yeah, well, I think originally they had switches in, and it knew which one was in which. It knew that they were definitely all there or they weren't there.
Oh wow, okay.
And it just got so unwieldy that now you can put them in or out. It's the one that's near the moire disc is the one that does
dictates,
and that's worked out by the collar. So there's a color sensor that just shines a light on it, and it looks at the reflectance, and then from the color it changes it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So put in the logs.
Yeah.
What this has got, which is very, very cool, and it's never happened before, is it's got all the captain's logs, the original stems without any music behind, all in one place that never had before, and you can go and look at them. So let's go and
from the entire series.
Yes. So let's choose.
No.
Here's all the captain's logs. No one's ever had them in one place. We got the original files.
Lieutenant Ron is sufficiently recovered to be discharged, but Captain is ordered and restricted to sick bay to prevent contact with passenger who calls himself Caridian and is suspected of being Kodos, the executioner, and of murdering the lieutenant's family.
Well, there you go. We picked a McCoy one, but if we go back and we choose another one, let's say this one.
Captain's log, stardate 1709.2. Patrolling outposts guarding the neutral zone between planets Romulus and Remus and the rest of the galaxy received emergency call from outpost.
You can pause it and play it. You can spin forward, spin
back.
And
so it's every Captain's log from the original series.
Yes. And it's not from any of the others. And fans have written to us saying, what about these other things? What about this? What about... Believe me, cataloguing 100, I think it was 207 or maybe more, 200 and something. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Getting all the audio from CBS, making sure it was all
clean.
clean and it was all perfect. They gave us the original.
Right.
They had to find it in the episodes on the original tapes. So we had to go through the tapes, find where the audio was, give them the minute and second.
Oh, no, and then pull out.
They had to go and then get it.
Right.
So it doesn't just exist because it's part of the rest of the whole sound. So that's a pretty cool thing.
What an amazing, lovely archive.
I mean, that itself is probably the killer app for it. Obviously, in the show itself, the only time you actually see anything on the screen...
It's a super close-up, right?
It's of them. Let me just get back out of this menu. There we go. So this is the various things that it does. But the archive is the thing it shows on the screen. So if I go to archive, my eyes aren't working that well, but let's go here. You see there's a show when they go back in time.
Yeah.
And they tell a little story about Hitler and the war. And the fact is, bad things, blah, blah, blah.
Right,
and
right,
they show a bit of black and white footage. And then they have the character, Edith Keeler, who's either going to die because she gets knocked down or not die because she doesn't get knocked down. And they have a role to play in it, though they unwittingly don't know that they do change the course of history, obviously, in this sort of paradox. But not doing anything would change it the way that they wouldn't. Anyway, the long and short of it is, this is what you see on the screen.
Wow.
It is so cool. It's the only bit of footage you ever see in the show. There's also
There must have been a period of time when you and your team was sitting there figuring out what can we put on here. Okay, well, let's ask what was on there.
Yeah,
and then you watch all the episodes and sort of chronicle every sound that comes out of it, every visual.
But no, the visuals are quite simple because it's just this. You know more about this because you went to that place where they make all this sort of ephemera, the newspapers.
Oh, yes, Earl Hayes. Yes.
Wow, I watched that episode. Incredible, by the way. But this is one of the, it's that,
oh my
it's
gosh.
that newspaper.
Yes.
And now, there were some very poor pictures of it. So I used I went every letter trying to work out what it was. We put it on our blog and fans wrote in and said, we've got the original newspaper. So that was very cool. So if you go to the next one, you'll recognize it. It's it's the Star Dispatch or whatever it is. It's that typical newspaper that's used in all the films.
That's spectacular.
So these are the three archive things.
Yeah.
There we go. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff. There's some planetary information of some of the main planetary bodies in our solar system with their Earth mass, weight, their size, what atmospheres they've got. So you can look through some pictures of different ones. So that's pretty cool. You have got some, let's get back out of there. I've got to look at this now. What's this? Orientation. This is quite cool. So there's a very weird thing. But on the deck of the Enterprise, next to the captain's chair is a compass.
Yes.
I mean, it's in space. It's a compass.
Sure.
This is the compass, though. So here we've got orientation.
Yeah.
And as we were saying, that the strange thing is, of course, the Enterprise having a compass would be a little bit weird.
What's north?
Yeah, exactly.
In space.
Is it up or down? Apparently there's justification for it. So I'm not going to go into all that. Don't want to scare anybody.
No.
But in the actual product, this is about one step away from that. The software, this will have it's got an accelerometer inside, and when you move it, the compass will move around. You'll be able to zero it, and then you'll be able to see how far away you are from the direction you zeroed it in. So that's actually taken not from the tricorder, but from the ship.
Yeah.
And there's another orientation actually, which is the actual accelerometers. I think we can go there. Yeah. And this shows the...
Oh, no way! Look at that! That's my favorite display yet. Holy cow, dude.
So that's really cool.
So you have actual accelerometers in there showing us their data.
We've got audio, which you'll see is a typical sort of histogram type audio, recording what's coming in, displaying what's coming in. You've got an engineering page. Oh, hello, maybe not. Let's go for it. Oh, here we go. That's the settings page. If I go here, I can show you this also. The moire is turning round.
Yeah.
If I go down to adjust the moire, I can click here and I can select the position of the moire to set it up so that it's exactly the same, which is about there.
Insane.
It was fixed in the show. And now I can lock it in that position. So it's now locked. Okay, so when I can go back and I can display it in my cabinet and it won't be turning around. So there's a few things, and there's quite a few other little...
I'm running out of superlatives. This is so happy. I'm so delighted by the deep level of functionality here.
Yeah, there we go. So let's go back here and let's go one last time. Let's just look at...
will you guys, in your instructions, will we get a flow chart of how to navigate this?
Yes.
Excellent.
We will. So we've got the status. The final thing is the status. So this gives you all the stats of the tricorder itself, but it has a very nice little feature. And it gives you the status of the ship.
Oh, nice.
And this is we put on a blog. We asked people to tell us what could go wrong with the ship. We got a whole load of things. And this has most of those things that people wrote in with.
Dangerous scenarios for the ship built in.
But 80% of the time, the ship's fine. Because obviously it would be crashing otherwise. So every time you roll the dice, 80% of the time, it's fine.
Oh, but every now and
so
then.
often, you get something's going wrong, and it and it has a certain amount of seconds before it will be fixed, and you can't do anything more with the ship until that's been fixed. We just show you a few
the cell's going wrong.
Yeah, we just show you a few different varieties of things that are happening here. So it's just a bit of fun. I don't think anyone ever saw that on the actual tricorder.
Insane.
So a lot of fun there.
It is. I think that what is beautiful about this is it's ludicrous, right? It's a ludicrous object.
Yes. And
its existence feels like a spectacular nod to the stories that build us, right? We are creators of all the kind of media we took in that inspired us. Star Trek was such an important one for me. I started this by saying I'm always looking for an experience from a prop. I had no idea how deep we made the experiential aspect of this. Just spectacular, man. What an achievement. What a masterpiece.
Well, it's only can do it justice. The things that have science fiction writers imagine for us is they're imagining our future. And if you live long enough, and we have to date lived long enough, things that you imagined that were only possible in your dreams have come true. And so it's trying to capture that essence and to think forwards on all the science fiction that we're reading and watching now, and knowing that in the future those things will be the same as this. We'll look back at them and think, God, that could have easily been done.
I can just picture Gene Roddenberry walking through this and laughing delightedly at every feature. Well, amazing. Chris, it's awesome. What a beautiful
Thank you very much indeed.
Oh my God, I can't wait till you're in production on these.
Very soon, this year.
All right, this year. Dude, thank you. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.